He's angry about mortgages. It's Angry Mortgage. He's swearing. He's cursing loud. He's old. He's opinionated. And he's been doing this so damn long. This program is about mortgages, and this is mortgage advice, but the advice may not apply to your situation. Contact licensed mortgage professionals for specific recommendations before you make decisions about mortgages. You may not agree with Ron, but if you don't, he thinks you're wrong. Oh, and did we say there is a lot of swearing?
And we're back.
We're back.
What? Oh, by the way, I have had a couple of comments. I need to introduce Jan every time. This is Jan, folks. I'm
Hello.
Ron. Okay.
And I'm Jen.
So everybody's happy now. Okay. Like, come on. Like, it's
watch the other episodes. You'll know who I am.
That's all you gotta do. Like, and like, it's been the same for a long time. So
Yeah.
But it's Jan and Ron. Okay.
Yes.
And we are in the I don't know how much far we got to go now. We got to go in the mortgage business. We got a mortgage brokerage in Alberta, British Columbia, and Ontario. I mean, if you want the whole story, I don't want to do it though. So that's it. I'm not doing it. All right. So eventful week. Mm-hmm. We're coming off the big announcement by the Bank of Canada.
Rate drop.
All good news. I mean, we had there was 400 comments about the rate drop thing and social media comments. At least 400. And they fell into the simple categories. People who want the housing market in Canada to collapse. By the way, you can't be totally mad at those people, right?
Yeah, I guess. Not that I want it to completely collapse, but I want it to be affordable again for sure.
Right.
And there's a lot of people who are ready to dip their toes into the market, but they just can't because a one bedroom's stupidly expensive.
Yes.
So you can't be mad at us for, wanting you guys to lose a little bit there, but two sides.
All true. That's all true. I mean, and of course, we had the brilliant comment by the Prime Minister that he would like to see much better affordability for young people. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, he doesn't want to see any house values drop.
Yeah, he doesn't want you guys to lose your safety net of retirement, which...
Us boomers.
Fair, sure, but I mean, I think he just knows his target, his market. He knows that us young generation, we're not voting as much. So he's like, I'm just going to go with what the voters want.
Suck up to the boomers. They vote all the time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. But it does lead you down the road of saying something that makes no fucking sense.
Contradicts himself.
Yes, we're going to spend billions and billions to achieve affordability for young Canadians, but no prices can come down.
Okay.
All right, enough of that shit. My head's gonna explode if I keep thinking about it. So. All right, so yes, the rate went down. The Canada rate went down. I'm only gonna spend a few moments on this because I've always said that I hate when people on podcasts and things want to talk about. Yeah, I wrote this back in 2000 and look out, it came true. Okay, fine, whatever. Okay. I don't think the public really gives a shit whether we're right about something or not. They make up their own minds. The listeners and the viewers will make up their own minds, whether we're right or wrong, and events will prove us either right or wrong. But I got to touch briefly on the famous $10,000 bet. The bet was that I said to everybody over the last 4 months, I said, no rate cut in March, no rate cut in April, but there might be a rate cut in June, and definitely there will be a rate cut this year in 2024.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's all the, like I said, there's the haters come out and say, no, you bastard, you're just trying to make money as a mortgage broker. You realtors and mortgage brokers are all dirty bastards. And well, probably a few are. I'm not even going to argue that one, okay? But this was not a prediction because I've said 1,000 times, prediction is a crap business. Prediction's stupid. I mean, yes, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen in May of next year, okay? That's
It's basically a guess with no foundation.
Just guessing. But there is such a thing as analysis, right? Or just common knowledge from your lived experience. When when the days get shorter and the weather gets colder, it's probably fucking winter, right? I mean, yeah, chances are, like, the sun is not as prevalent anymore. I mean, I think that's winter coming.
Yeah.
Okay. So
When you see the snow, that's the definite.
Snow is a dead fucking giveaway. Yes, absolutely. So, like, that's not prediction. I predict it'll get cold. Dude, come on. All right.
Shit.
Like, it'll happen. Yeah. So it's not prediction, it's analysis. So I'm an old man and I've seen all this shit before. The rates go up, then the rates have to come down. That's just the way it goes. And the way it works is they raise rates to fuck the economy up so that people will spend less and price growth will shrink. As we've said before, it's really important that inflation is only about the percentage of increase in prices. Prices don't go backwards, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Rarely.
well, some commodities will. Like sometimes the price of gold goes up and down. Sometimes stocks will go up and down. But when we're talking about food or, I don't know, sneakers.
Yeah.
Sneakers ever gone down in price? No. Okay.
Unless there's like a huge sale or something, but it's like,
yeah, but like,
that's not an everyday pricing. You know, like I haven't seen strawberries for less than $5 a pound. So
thank you. Yes, exactly.
It's been a while.
And so what we say to people is, look, this unfortunate difficulty of unaffordability based on food prices is it's just slowing down.
Yeah.
The amount of the inflation just slows. It never stops. By the way, sometimes it reverses, but rarely. In the 2000s, you could make a case in the early 2000s. You could get clothes from China for fuck all nothing, right? I mean, like a dress, there was a $15 dress, right? $10
I don't know.
dress?
I was like 10.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Fine.
I don't know.
Fine. But yeah, there were super cheap clothes.
I can imagine.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was like stores that specialized in that. 2 for $39.99. Two for cheap clothes. And that was actually, you could say the price of clothes went down because they imported such inexpensive clothing from China and other locations that was like deflation in clothes. But normally, no, doesn't happen. Prices don't go down. Not groceries. We haven't seen any groceries, like you said about the strawberries. Restaurants, holy fuck, restaurants never go down.
Oh my God. I went out last night for dinner, Cactus Club, $77. I didn't have any alcohol.
Whoa. $77 and no drinks?
No drinks.
Woo-hoo,
No drinks. I
shit.
bought one appetizer for the table. My meal had chicken. It wasn't steak. It wasn't seafood. Chicken.
No steak, no shrimp, no lobster, chicken. That's your basic, other than having a salad, that's your lowest cost option.
Chicken on, I think it was like gnocchi, and I had like a strawberry drink or whatever, hibiscus drink. $77 pre-tip.
Sweet Christ on a cracker.
And I was like,
God.
I didn't look at the price when I ordered, and I honestly can't tell you how much the meal was alone, but I was just kind of dumbfounded because I was like, I don't remember spending $80+ per person at a restaurant, at like a decent restaurant.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I get it. People are not going out because what the fuck? $77 for chicken?
That wasn't a bottle of wine. That wasn't two
There was
cocktails.
no drinks.
That wasn't a steak. That wasn't any of that stuff. That
it
was just
a basic meal.
Wow.
On a Thursday night,
Christ
a basic
almighty.
meal, 70
Wow.
bones plus.
Jesus, that's awful.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, we encounter that. You know, we encounter that all the time. Yeah. It's not like the Big Mac price is ever going down at McDonald's. Okay?
How much is a Big Mac these days?
I don't know. $5.99? I don't know. I'm guessing.
I don't know. I feel like McDonald's is expensive though. I feel like everything's expensive.
Well, theoretically, McDonald's is not expensive. Like if you were to compare, a breakfast sandwich at Tim Hortons versus McDonald's is a few pennies less. So in theory, that's sort of the lowest price thing you can get, right? But it's never going backwards.
Yeah.
Never. Sure, there's a sale once in a while, okay, but then the sale stops and you're back to the regular. So inflation is just the slowing of price increases. And that's what I observed. I observed inflation was coming down as the economy just kept getting pummeled, okay, with, losses in jobs, which we just read about today in Canada. The unemployment rate went up in Canada today, and that ain't good. We talked last week about all of the bank increases in loan write-offs, loan provisions for bad loans. Okay, so that was just analysis. Like knowing there was a cut coming someday was just analysis. But finally, to finish off on the $10,000 bet. So just a quick recap. I bet anybody who said, yes, no, you're wrong, Ron. The rates are going up. You're so fucking wrong, you fat fuck. This is all in comments. So people will say anything in comments when the avatar is a half moon with a pirate patch, and the name is coming for you at night 1274896. Okay, that's the name of the person. Okay, so in other words, completely anonymous fuckwits who would say, no, you're dead wrong, Ron. All of the Bank of Canada is going to raise rates. I mean, it's going to go up. And it's not possible for it to go down this year. Oh, and then the other big favorite, you are a fat fool, because if the Bank of Canada raises its rates, the Canadian dollar will go to 50 cents. Well, guess what? Cut their rates. If the Bank of Canada cuts the rates, the Canadian dollar will go to 50 cents US. So guess what? The Canadian Bank of Canada did cut their rate last week. Yeah. So what do you think happened to the dollar?
Not much. It's not 50 cents.
Fuck all, nothing. Okay, nothing. And for all those people who say the dollar is actually, Canadian dollar versus the US dollar is actually slightly better than it was last October. Okay, really? Now, don't get me wrong. 73%, 73% is no fun. Yeah. You go down to the States, if you want to visit in the States, that's no fun.
No.
Okay? And a lot of the Caribbean countries are US dollars is what they use, right? So no fun. No fun if you got to do that. But Christ, that's a lot of extra money to go a holiday in the States. But still, didn't budge. Nothing happened. Okay.
Nobody bet.
And, well, no, there were a lot of people said, yes, I'll bet you. Yes, I'll bet you there's no chance the Bank of Canada drops rates. I'll bet that.
Well, nobody actually put their money where their mouth is. So.
Not a living fucking soul. Like I said, okay, DM's open. Just DM me with your, I know you're, Banana Man 65829, so I don't know how to bet with Banana Man, okay? But if you send me your personal information, give me your phone number, your email, we'll both set aside $10,000 with a safe third party, and we'll wait for the end of the year or sooner. And it was a fuck of a lot sooner. All right, so not to belabor the $10,000 bet. I don't think I'll ever do it again because it was just too much bullshit. But people love to make fucking goofy comments that they do not know fuck all about. And they just like to put shit online.
That's social media for you.
That is all there is to it, yeah. And but I offered many, many people a chance.
Not a soul took it.
Not a one. So there you go. Now, let's apply the same analysis, not prediction. Prediction's stupid. Let's apply the same analysis to the future of cuts. So will there be another cut this year? All right. I'm going to take the simplest possible analysis. Just this simple. So you go back over the history of Bank of Canada rate moves. Just look at it. It's all there. It's printed. It goes back 50 years. Okay. Did the Bank of Canada ever just drop rates 0.25% and then stop for a year and do nothing?
I don't think so.
It is the correct answer. The correct answer is that never fucking happened. Okay, never fucking happened. The enormous history, the vast history of this, 100 out of 100 times, there was another cut. Oh, it might not have been the next meeting. Might have taken 2 meetings. Might have taken 3 meetings. But there was always another 0.25% cut. So again, simple truth, and you can hate it if you want, folks out there, listeners out there, but there'll be another cut this year. Simple as that. So at some point before the end of this year, we'll have a 4.5 Bank of Canada rate. Now, I originally started by saying this is good news for some. Some people hate it, but it is legitimately good news for people with variable rates, variable rate mortgages, people with HELOCs, it's legitimately good news. Like, it has to be, right? Like,
Yeah,
if you
of
had that
course.
product, I mean, you just say, oh my God, there's a chance I can make it out of this.
Yeah.
Okay. So absolutely a good thing. Not possible to say it's bad, in my opinion. Okay. Yes. If you want the housing market to crash, probably not the optimum. But for millions of Canadians with mortgages, it's good news. All right. So will fixed rates follow? Yes, they will. I know there'll be another screaming fit about, oh, no, they won't. You're wrong. They're wrong. It won't happen. It won't happen. Fixed rates will go up. You're stupid. Those are bond yields. You don't know fuck all. It's going to be up. Fixed rates going to go up. Yeah. Fixed rates are going to slowly come down. What do we keep saying? It's not linear. It will be bumpy. There will be bumps, but it will eventually, fixed rates will come down as the cuts set in. There won't be any 3% rate in Canada this year. That's never going to happen. Not a chance. Okay. Rates aren't going to go back to where they were in 2021. That's also not a chance. But rates will come down slowly. They'll come down. All right. So that's the rate picture. What about the housing picture? How is housing affected? How is the price of homes? How is sales activity in real estate affected?
Well, I think just because rates came down doesn't mean that everyone can suddenly afford a home. It just means that more people qualify, but with house prices, how high they are, it doesn't really make much of a difference. And this rate cut's not going to bring the pricing down anyways, right? So
no, a quarter percent, all of its own. Just if we just look at a 0.25%.
Yeah.
No. Now, the concept here is trend. Will there be, I talked about the fact there'll be another cut this year. So will the trend get better? In terms of rates, it will. Then the question becomes, well, always, you're the one who keeps saying that house sales are very dependent on credit, very dependent on interest rates, mortgage rates. Mm-hmm. That's true. They are. The activity in the housing business, like, let's face it, when you could get a variable rate mortgage for 0.99, under 1%, it was very, very fucking busy. Okay,
I can imagine.
When you get when it was a fixed rate for 1.49, fuck me, it was busy. Okay, like it was really busy. Okay, so yes, of course, lower rates have an impact, but we rode the price horse so high in Ontario and British Columbia that you need those 2% rates now to really have a very active, buoyant market. So will housing get better? Because house sales are like a 10, 12, 14-year low, okay? And very slow. Ask any real estate agent. They'll tell you, yeah, it's shit.
Yeah.
But will it take off again? It will probably improve because there's a certain amount of people who realize there's a trend here, and I think I can trust the trend. Now, what will probably happen is it won't really get a lot of action. Won't really see a sustained change until there's another cut and there's tons and tons of rates under 4%. Sorry, under 5%. Under 5%. So if we get a lot of 4.89, 4.99, 4.79, once we get to those kind of rates, there will be more action. But, big but, when I said before that the way that this whole thing works is that high rates damage the economy, create unemployment, create economic hardship, and then people say, oh, shit, I got to quit spending. So that's how inflation gets brought down? Well, who the hell's worried about their job's going to go out and buy a house? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and even people who feel very confident in their job, there's like a little thing at the back of their mind saying, geez, I'm not sure, if the economy's going to get worse, maybe house prices are going to come down. There's that thought.
Well, what would you say that the interest rate has to be at for home prices to actually start to be a little bit on the lower side?
Well, look, I mean, there's some things you can guarantee. You can guarantee if there's a lot of fixed rates available, say at 4% or slightly higher than 4%. Yeah, housing's going to pick up because all of a sudden end users, people who want to move into a house, that's going to radically change what their payments are versus 5% or 5.5%. So, yeah, big change.
But if there's no homes being built, then that high housing price is basically just going to be stagnant, no?
Well, here's what happens, though. If there's no new homes being built, because let's face it, in Ontario,
There's none.
low-rise is not getting built.
Oh.
I mean, and the high-rise you see started 3 years ago, right? So whenever you see a crane in the air, that's something that happened 3 years ago. Those were sold 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So what happens is that if you don't build any new homes, like if that really slows down, particularly in low-rise, you don't build any townhouses, you don't build any semis or singles, that's called scarcity. Right, because if the population grows, because the big cities in Canada aren't like Detroit, where the population left. You know.
Yeah. No, everyone wants to be here for some reason.
Yeah, everyone wants to be here. So, Christ, in Detroit, they ended up having to. In Detroit, it was cheaper to bulldoze houses down and plant a farm. Made more sense because the city said there's never going to be enough people to come back.
Wow.
So we might as well grow some tomatoes.
Yeah.
Because we need tomatoes.
Shit.
So, there you go. They just, and the other problem you have with empty houses that are going to stay empty is they get vandalized, they burn down, people set fires, and, it becomes an expense to the city to deal with that problem, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, in Detroit, they bulldozed houses, empty houses, bulldozed them. And there's tomatoes and lettuce and other stuff. Okay. But that tells you that it's when the population is shrinking, the results in housing are really, really shitty.
Yeah.
So we don't have that problem. We got lots of people coming. Complete opposite. We still have a lot of people coming. Hopefully there'll be a rational, sensible approach to student housing like we talked about last week, and there'll be fewer international students coming because that's apparently in the cards. And that'll take some pressure off, but not enough. Okay.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is if you don't build low-rise homes and you can't sell the condos pre-sale to get to the point where you could say to your bank, hey, give us the financing. We've sold 80% of the building. If you don't get past 75, you can't go to the bank.
Yeah.
So the condos aren't getting started. So if you create scarcity in something, in other words, we're stop building low-rise and we're bringing in all kinds of folks to the country to live, well, eventually the prices have to go up, right? So, yeah, we aren't building low-rise right now at all. It's just
tough. Yeah.
So I can't predict a true pattern. But by the way, I think we might have some issues. One issue we have with the condo market right now in Vancouver and in Toronto, strata condos and strata units in Vancouver. You can't make any money as a landlord right now, or you got to have bought it for like $100,000 and have no mortgage or something, right? I mean, like but it's really hard. Anybody who's bought condos in the last few years and has a mortgage with a new rate instead of an old rate, and definitely has higher monthly maintenance fees.
Oh yeah.
You are, there's a technical term for it in the real estate business. We say that you are fucked. Okay, you are fucked with negative cash flow. Like you're reaching into your own bank account to have a tenant. Okay. Now, if you're a really hot real estate investment person, you'd say, "Oh, you're wrong, Ron. They're paying down the mortgage. They're paying down your mortgage and growing your equity." Well, here's the trouble, dude. If you had a variable rate with BMO and not mad at BMO. BMO's a great bank. I'll switch it to CIBC because we can all be mad at CIBC if we want. So if you got a variable rate with CIBC, you may be in a position where you're paying zero capital payment, zero principal payment, zero down. You're not paying your mortgage down at all. Your mortgage may even be growing. This can happen with a number of banks, right? Not RBC. RBC doesn't let the mortgage grow, but so you've either got you're either piling up a growing mortgage or your payments have gone way up. You're paying off some principal, but not much anymore. Not if you're 6.45%, right? And yeah, you're just losing money hand over fist.
I think what keeps these small condos afloat is Airbnb. because these tiny condos that has like the views of the CN Tower, for example,
Mm-hmm.
you're looking at like $350 a night, you know, and then that's on top of like the Airbnb fees, the cleaning fees. So it's like they're really banking on the tourism that comes to Toronto, but because it's hard right now, it's hard to get an apartment. Like my friends are moving and they struggle to find a place. And I think that's what's keeping them afloat. But with what's changing with Airbnb and them getting strict, like they're just going to have to sell at this point.
Well, is the other thing with your friends is they don't want a 385 square foot condo, do
Yeah,
they?
of course not.
They do not. That's ridiculous. No. Yeah. So by the way, yes on Airbnb, yes 1,000%. And they are getting strict and they are getting restrictive and they do want to fight it. The Toronto municipal government wants to fight Airbnb unless the homeowner lives there. Airbnb was always the idea that you could rent out rooms
in your own home. Not you buy 12 homes.
Yeah, or not buy 12 condos and not ever live in any of them. Okay, I've said it before, I'll say it again. The concept of Airbnb was never meant to be an illegal hotel room. That was never what it was supposed to be.
Do you think that Airbnb drove the prices? Like, has something to do with the prices of? Well, like it drove the house room prices, at least the condo prices, to where they're at.
I believe that in every way, in the big cities, particularly the big cities like Toronto. But also what it drove was dog crate condos. It drove that because if you're just visiting for the weekend, you just need a place to sleep. Yeah. Okay. That's it. That's all you need.
And the only benefit versus a hotel room was that you actually had a kitchen, right? So you could buy your own food and you can make your own, whatever. And maybe a balcony for smokers,
Yeah, that. And it was actually a bit cheaper than a hotel. Okay? Because if you think about it, those 5 days of Taylor Swift, we probably got, in Toronto, we got 5 days of Taylor Swift. I think there's some people with Airbnb units in Toronto who are just waiting for Taylor Swift to be over, and then they're going to list and sell. Okay, because I know people are getting $950 a night.
Crazy.
They're close to Taylor. They're close to the
Scotiabank.
Close to the arena. Yeah.
Crazy.
$900 a night. Jesus Christ. Anyway, you're dead right. Airbnb was one of the things. The legal hotel room aspect of Airbnb was one of the reasons why people would say, well, I can spend X now on this microscopic condo, this teeny tiny 385 square foot condo. I can afford it, and I think I can make the math really work in my favor since I treat it as a hotel room and rent it by the night. Okay. Unfortunately, governments woke up one day and said, no.
Problem.
I mean, we have hotels hotels are for hotels. Hotel rooms are for hotels. Okay. They're not for Airbnb. Because we tax hotels differently, right? Way different, like 5 times, okay, what a residential place is taxed. So, it's coming to an end. You're right, 100% right. And with that, so no Airbnb, rates are coming down a tiny bit, but not fast enough. The monthly maintenance fees go up all the time. And now, can I tell you that there's actually 2 worse pieces of information. 2 extra things that are happening that make it worse to own a condo. The government, when we read about all the government's investment, the federal government's and provincial government's investment in new homes, it's all to build rentals. It's all to build purpose-built rentals.
Yeah.
So you're now, as a landlord with 2 or 3 condo units, are going to be in competition with the government and REITs to build purpose-built rentals, modern buildings, decent, clean, modern buildings, totally new, at possibly, because they've got a little bit better sort of tax deal, which you should have a better tax deal, right? Purpose-built rentals, because you're trying to supply rental stock to people. The way that a purpose-built rental works is you have to sell it as the whole building, right? So you might not sell it for 30 years. You're not just buying like one unit and praying for appreciation, then pop it off as almost a real estate flip.
Yeah.
Can't do that with these huge buildings. So those new purpose-built rentals will eventually start to compete in the rental market. And it gets, by the way, it's like that ShamWow commercial. But wait, there's more, okay? there's going to be another. Somebody gave me. I read a number the other day. I thought it was about 30,000. Excuse me, 30,000. But apparently, it's more like over the next 3 years, 90,000 new condos in Ontario. Okay.
We're not condo city for no reason.
Woo-wee. When you drive around and see all those cranes.
Yeah.
I was on the 40th floor of the Royal Bank building the other day, and you look across that part of the skyline, and Jesus, there's some buildings. There's some cranes. There's some work going on. Yeah. So they will complete and add. Yes, there will be a greater population. We need more homes.
Yeah.
But all these tiny condos.
You need sizable homes, not
rational.
Yeah.
So there could be a glut, and a glut means lower prices, right? That's just. But
if condos your lifestyle, which is kind of all that we'll ever be able to afford at this point.
But let's just say, in truth, that I don't want to predict house prices. I really don't. I've been wrong for so fucking long. I could never believe they would get as high as they got. I never believed it. I never believed it could get this wild. It never made sense to me. It never made sense that something that for 50, 60, 70 years, that you could buy a house for 3 times your income, that would go to 12 times your income or 15 times your income. It never made sense to me, ever. Okay? But here we are. All right, let's do a mortgage fraud update. It's pretty fucking sad that you got to do mortgage fraud updates, right? Like mortgage stealing updates.
Yeah,
oh
basically.
My God. So there was a blurb about the thief of Victoria. The thief of Victoria. Greg Martel, big time mortgage fraudster. Once again, our favorite piece of shit investment called the promissory note. Okay. Greg. I said I related in another show that I met Greg Martel once. I met him at an industry function, and I spent about 15, 20 minutes talking to him. And I left that experience of talking to Greg thinking to myself, good looking man, good talker, pure bullshit artist, like pure fucking bullshit. Okay. I didn't know he was a crook. Okay. Turns out he's a crook. So Greg is missing. He's probably in Thailand, or somebody said Dubai. Oh. But I think if you're on the lam, you'd rather be in Thailand. Like you can just go to one of the small beaches somewhere.
I'm sure he's just somewhere he can't be extradited.
I think there is extradition from Thailand. I'm not sure.
That's where I would be at least.
At least be someplace nice.
Yeah.
Right? Like if somebody said to me, well, there's no extradition from French Guiana in Africa, I'd think, maybe I'll go to Thailand. Okay, take my chances. Okay, not that we're not mad at French Guiana in Africa. We're not mad at Senegal. We're not mad at any of those places. But Thailand probably better, right? Like beach in Thailand, nobody's angry at that, right?
Yeah, and it's so affordable.
Yeah,
so affordable.
So if you've stolen like $140 million, so you could probably do fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he stole so many people's money.
Fucked up.
So they forced him into bankruptcy. The court forced him into bankruptcy because everybody's screaming, "Where's my money? Where's my money?" And so there was one. Remember, I said a long time ago, I had a show where I said, "Never give any investment. Don't buy any investment from somebody who drives a Ferrari
with a ponytail."
With the ponytail. Well, Greg was losing his hair, so he didn't have any ponytail. But in the bankruptcy documents, it showed that over the course of about 6 years, Greg had spent $3.1 million on vehicles and private jets.
Wow. He was living his best life.
Fuck me. Okay. $3.1 million on private jets and fancy cars. Like, that's the ultimate Ferrari rule. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, he's got a fleet of the fuckers. Okay. Like, anyway. Look, for all you people who lost your money, who might be listening, I am very, very sorry. I don't mean to make fun of it. It's serious as fuck and a horrible tragedy to everyone. Like, he just stole their money. He gained their confidence through successful transactions, just like Bernie Madoff.
It's a trend. It's
a fake. It's a grift. But I feel sorry for everybody who lost. And I'll give a similar kind of update on the Claire Drage debacle. Okay,
similar thing.
Similar thing, promissory notes, money's all gone. It's all just gone. But it's going to be pretty hard to get any money back from Claire. So she's given up her mortgage brokerage license. She's filed for personal bankruptcy and for corporate receivership.
Yikes.
So in Canada, if you've guaranteed money in a personal loan and you go bankrupt personally, you don't have to really, you pay like 1 cent on the dollar back.
Wow.
You know, like, because the way bankruptcy works is that it's based on your income. So if Claire says, well, I had to give up my license because I was in trouble and I have no other job now, her income goes to zero. Or I don't know, she could drive Uber, I guess. I don't know. But income goes to zero and you don't have to pay much. Like, what are you going to pay from zero?
Yeah.
So if you owe people like $100 million, you don't have to pay anything, right? Basically. So
that's basically a slap on the wrist.
Well, it's not even that. She literally just got away with it. Like, she just got away with it. She's gone bankrupt, but, you know, I got a feeling some money is somewhere. I'm not suggesting there's any fraud here. No bankruptcy fraud. Sorry. No, I don't need any more lawyers' letters. But I get my share. So, yeah, it's gone. Like, so the people who've lost the money, they have a couple of options, but they're very narrow, very hard. They could try to litigate to discover if there's any money. But that's expensive.
It is. And they've already lost so much.
Yeah, you're going to throw more money at legal fees?
Yeah.
After you've lost $500,000?
For a 50-50 chance.
I don't think 50. I think 90% you lose. Like, you can't. There you
go.
You can't find the money. You have to find the money, or you have to go after the insurance companies, because everybody in our business carries errors and omissions insurance. But it's only like a $2 million max.
Oh.
So if you've blown through 100 million, then what? Yeah, you're right. Like pennies on the dollar, maybe 1 penny. Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel very, very sorry for those people too. That is a terrible, terrible.
Fuck.
Oh, fuck! It's horrible. And I'm gonna see how I gotta phrase this as carefully as possible. But I heard a rumor that there's a mortgage broker walking around London, Ontario real estate offices saying that if he ends up having to pay a fine of $150,000, sorry, misphrased that. If this person has to pay a fine of 100, 150,000 or 200 or 50 or whatever the hell the fine finally is, that he could write that person, not he, that person could write it out of his checking account. Like, he's boasting.
Okay.
He's boasting that he doesn't, that this person, they, I gotta get the right pronouns going here.
Yeah.
Because you know, Jan, I struggle with pronouns.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm
Your generation.
my generation is not.
You don't need to get used to it. It's fine.
I'll be dead by the time it's really important. That's for sure. But yeah, so I'm bad with pronouns. But they, this person, is saying they can just write the fine out of their checking account because they're so loaded with money that they don't give a fuck, okay, about the fine. All right? So, yeah, that's not a good look in my opinion. So, not saying who it is. It could just be a figment of my imagination. But that's what I'm hearing.
But after all these stories,
I'll be like Trump. I'll say,
up the flags.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be like Trump. I'll say, people are saying,
yeah. It's not fake news. People are saying.
People are saying that this person, them, they don't give a shit about paying the fine. Like, fuck them all. Okay, so, yep, that's
only a matter of time until we hear that one.
Yep. Which also makes me a little sad because one last plug for the regulator in Ontario, who is absolutely showing people, the mortgage brokerage regulator is FSRA is absolutely showing people they're for real. Like, if you fuck with it, remember my favorite graph? Fuck around, find out. Okay. Well, FSRA is way up on that fuck around You're going to find out, baby. You're going to find out. We're going to make sure you find out, okay? So, once again, hats off to FISRA. Doing a great job. Okay, so we have viewer mail. Viewer mail, we got questions from the viewers.
Yeah, so this one says, saw the stories about no more security thing on water heaters. Does this mean I don't have to pay that lease?
Oh, great question. That's great. So we did have a big announcement last week in Ontario, might have been the week before, that the government is putting an end to the ability for any sort of wandering appliance sales guys. We did a whole show on this once. We did a couple of shows on this. That you could say, okay, here, old folks, because they do things like go door to door.
Yeah.
Hi, it's a hot day today. Would you like a new air conditioner? So they would go door to door and they would sell people new air conditioning, typically almost always older people, elderly, vulnerable people. So they'd say, okay, hey, you want a new air conditioner? You want a new furnace? You want to do this? You want to do that? We're going to install it for you, and it's just going to be another $20 a month on your heating bill. That's it. Gone through utilities. So then what would happen is they'd pay for it for a few years and then say, okay, we're selling the house. And then they'd find out there was a lien on the home. Like inside of that, all those papers they signed to get their new furnace or their new air conditioner, there was a lien on their home for $28,000. Okay. Which was ridiculous. People were just getting abused.
Yeah.
So the government put an end to that.
Nice.
The government said, not only can you never do that again, you can't register this lien. Like the Terranet system, the system that does the liens, can no longer accept anything. So that's over with. And the government declared all existing liens of this nature to be illegal. So that's the end of them. So the answer to your question is the liens are illegal, but your payments may not be illegal. They probably are still legal. Like you're probably still going to have to pay.
If you leased or rented the unit, then for sure.
You got to pay. Yeah. But the lien is now invalid. That happened.
Nice. This one says, Bank of Canada drops rates. When does my payment go down on my variable?
Great. So there's a whole bunch of variables. The payment doesn't change. That's important to understand. That when the rate was going way up, they stayed the same. You just paid zero principal. Like sometimes your mortgage got bigger. Okay. But there is a group of mortgages where variable rate mortgages, or we sometimes refer to as adjustable rate mortgages, where yes, the payment went up. When will it start to come down? Well, every bank matched, just like I said, every bank matched the next day, matched with the Bank of Canada, dropped their commercial bank rate. And it's, you'll see it, if not on your next payment, you'll see it next month. So if it doesn't change immediately, like next week, it will all change. Your payments will go down next month. Okay, so that's a good thing. But that's how fast it is. It's very quick. It's very quick. If you have a payment that went up, you will start to see it go down. It's as simple as that. So, another interesting thing that we're going to expand on maybe in another YouTube or another show is, I think we actually mentioned it maybe a couple of shows ago. There's a bank in Australia that stopped taking cash.
Oh, that was probably not with me.
Oh, there was a bank in Australia that quit taking cash. They've announced as of January of next year, 2025, there will be no more cash transactions. You can't bring in cash and you cannot get out cash.
So they're just like strictly online e-transfers and
digital
stuff?
Or fuck yourself. Yeah, that's
it.
And by the way, that's one of the, there's only 4 banks in Australia. They're like us. They just have big banks. And these guys have said, no, fuck, we're going to get out of the cash business. Now, if you don't like that, move your account. Fuck you. Okay?
It's one way to force people into the into the modern world.
Well, but it's also a big anti-money laundering thing. And it's also a terrific savings for the bank not to have to keep cash.
That's actually kind of smart because I have gotten fake bills from an ATM before. Yeah. So they clearly read it. So they're onto something.
Yeah.
Onto the modern world.
There might be the unfortunately, there might be the evil concept of central bank digital currency, which is the worst thing in the world. But I guess that's for another show. All right, that brings us to our favorite part of the program.
What the actual fuck?
Yeah, and this is a big one. Like, what the actual fuck is going on in Ottawa with our federal government? Like, it was announced last week that the federal, like the security, like the equivalent of the CIA and the FBI kind of guys in in the Canadian government, in the security services in Canada. They just let it out that, we think that there's a number of members of parliament and senators who formed the government of Canada. We think there's a bunch of them, maybe as many as 11 of them, have taken money from China and India to spy on Canada and to influence their votes. Now, back when there was a war on, we used to have a word for these people. Treason. They were called traitors, okay?
It's treason.
And it's treason, for fuck's sakes. And if you're in the States and you do treason, it's one of the last federal death penalty charges that's possible. So, what the actual fuck do we have? And by the way, the government's reaction when this came out was, we'll do some more investigating. So everybody's screaming, who are these people? Who are they? You know who they are. Who are these? Who are the names? No names. You should know. There's never any names. No, because it might not be true. So we have to investigate. It could take a very long time.
I'm not even surprised. Our government has been an embarrassment lately. So, to say the least.
Well,
So
I'll pretend I'm supporting the government and say, okay, yes, government, you're right. You shouldn't name names if they're false.
For protection of the people, sure.
Sure. Okay. So where the fuck is the Royal Commission? Where is the fucking RCMP? Where is it should be swarms of them. Okay. It should be the most important fucking thing in Canada. Okay. To find out the truth of this. This is so fucking important. I don't want a bunch of fucking traitors committing treason on our country, running our country. Okay, I don't want that. All right, I don't think anybody. You don't want it.
No,
I don't know anybody who wants it.
What?
So fucking stop it. RCMP, Royal Commission, hurry the fuck up. Not next week, right now.
They're giving them time to wipe their devices, basically.
Well, apparently the proof exists. The way they produced the report is they had recordings. Okay, that's how they produced it. All right,
interesting.
So
what a shit show.
Canada government, Ottawa. No traitors, please. Okay, if they're traitors, they gotta go. We gotta arrest them. We gotta find them, confirm it, arrest them, try them, and if it's true, they gotta go to fucking jail. Okay, to jail. No fucking around. It's like Monopoly. Go straight to fucking jail. Okay. All right. Back next week. Thanks, folks.
Yeah.
If you like the pod, well, don't just sit there. Go to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and all the other ones and like the pod. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep being angry at mortgages and swearing about mortgages. Angry Mortgage could use your support.